With the new installment in the Saw franchise, I thought why not make a video about the movie where majority of the fans of the franchise are split, and I want to make some arguments for how Spiral is one of the best entries in the Saw franchise. I will be going over points that make this movie one of the strongest stories told in the whole franchise. Also, I will be going over the story and aspects of it that stand out from the majority of the movies before it. I will also be going over the story in detail, so there will be spoilers if you haven't seen the movie. Talks of another Saw installment began after the release of Jigsaw in 2017, with Chris Rock wanting to branch out into the horror genre. The project was officially announced in May 2019, with Rock polishing a script by Stolberg and Goldfinger. The rest of the cast joined in July, with filming taking place in Toronto through that month and August. Originally scheduled to be released in May 2020, Spiral was delayed due to the COVID-19 pandemic and was theatrically released in the United States on May 14, 2021 by Lionsgate Films. The film grossed a total of $40.6 million and received mixed reviews from critics. A 10th installment, Saw X, is set to release this Friday, September the 29th. During a 4th of July parade, off-duty detective Mar Boswick chases a thief down a sewer drain pipe, attacked from behind by a figure wearing a pig mask.
Get your fucking hands in the air! I ain't gonna say it again, motherfucker!
Boswick awakens to find himself suspended by his tongue in an active subway tunnel and is given a choice by a recorded message: tear out his tongue and live, or remain until the next train arrives, killing him. Unable to escape the trap in time, Boswick is hit by the train and killed. The next day, police captain Angie Garza assigns the detective Zeke Banks a new partner, idealistic rookie William Schenk. Banks and Schenk investigate Boswick's death, and Banks recognizes the elaborate trap as the modus operandi of the now deceased Jigsaw killer. Meanwhile, homicide detective Fitch, who several years prior had ignored a backup call from Banks, resulting in Banks nearly getting killed, is abducted and placed in a trap where he must allow a device to rip his fingers off to avoid electrocution in a filling water basin. He also fails to escape and dies. Some officers begin to suspect that Banks may be responsible due to his history with Fitch. A box then arrives at the station containing a pig puppet and a piece of Schenk's tattooed skin inside. A small vial inside the box directs the police to a butcher shop, which was previously a hobby shop that Banks and his father, retired Chief Marcus Banks, used to visit. Upon arriving, the team discovers a tape recorder and a skinned corpse, identified as Schenk. Deciding to track down the killer himself, Marcus travels to a warehouse where he is abducted. Shortly afterwards, Garza is kidnapped and placed in a trap in the precinct's cold storage, where she has to sever her spinal cord on a blade to stop boiling wax flowing from a pipe onto her face. She fails to do so and dies from her injuries. Moments later, Banks discovers her body. While chasing a lead, Banks is captured and wakes up at the warehouse, handcuffed to a pipe with a hacksaw nearby. He considers sawing off his arm but successfully escapes using a loose bobby pin. He then discovers his former partner Peter Dunleavy, who was imprisoned when Banks exposed a murder he committed, chained in place. In front of him is a large glass crushing machine, which has been modified to hurl shrapnel at him. A tape recorder explains that Banks can choose to either free him or leave him to die. Although Banks attempts to save Dunleavy, he cannot get the key in time. Moving to another room, Banks then finds Schenk, who is revealed to have faked his own death by using the skinned corpse of the thief who lured Boswick into the tunnels and has been the copycat all along. He explains that his last name is actually Emerson, the son of Charlie Emerson, who was the man Dunleavy killed because he had agreed to testify against a dirty cop. He also reveals that Marcus, during his time as chief, deliberately protected corrupt officers to clean the streets of crime more efficiently under Article 8. Believing that Banks can be an ally, Emerson presents him with a final test, revealing Marcus suspended above the floor and slowly being drained of blood. Emerson calls 911 and claims that he is a civilian, being pursued by a shooter, resulting in the dispatch of a SWAT team. He hands Banks a revolver with one cartridge and offers him the choice to either shoot a target that will save Marcus but allow Emerson to escape, or to kill Emerson and let Marcus bleed to death. Banks shoots the target to save his father, causing his restraints to loosen and lowering him to the ground, and then begins to fight Emerson. The SWAT team arrives and inadvertently triggers a tripwire, causing Marcus' restraints to yank him upward again. The movement reveals a gun affixed to Marcus' arm, leading the SWAT team to mistake him for the shooter and kill him. Banks screams in despair as Emerson escapes. So that was Spiral, and I believe that the killer's motives here really elevate the franchise. They could have gone many routes with a sequel to Spiral. The killer's motives are very different, and that makes him a very different killer to John Kramer. He comes from the point of view like he is doing something good, and he's kind of a vigilante, even though his methods are very violent. I also believe that this entry has the most cohesive storyline. No quick editing, no fast camera moves that made many of the other movies unwatchable. Also, as the franchise went on, the movies became more and more far-fetched when it comes to John Kramer and who the other killers are. Most importantly, the storylines weren't interesting or engaging, because you had characters that you didn't care much for because of how they were written and acted. Here you have clear character motivations and clear character arcs. The movie takes a lot of influence from the movie Seven, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. The movie focuses more on a detective story than anything else. There are traps in the movie, but they are not the focus of it. The focus is on the storyline and the characters. And with this, I'm not saying that this is a perfect Saw movie. It's not as good as the first movie, but it is the best movie since Saw 3. It does have its flaws, but when it comes to the Saw franchise, the bar is not very high when it comes to story writing and character writing. So when Spiral came out and was as good as it was a very nice surprise. Saw X is releasing this weekend and I really hope it's good. I do like the concept of this franchise. I just don't think the majority of the movies are any good. They go from passable to straight garbage, so in a movie that is for the most part well told and well made, I do get happy about it. The trailers for Saw X are looking interesting. I just hope the movie is too. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe. This has been Boogeyman Cinema. Thank you for watching.